A National Railroad Passenger Corporation, doing business as amtrak/reporting marks Inc. is a passenger railroad service that provides medium and long-distance intercity rail service in 46 of the 48 contiguous United States and to 9 cities in Canada. Amtrak is a portmanteau of the words America and track, the latter itself a sensational spelling of track. Founded in 1971 as a quasi-public corporation to operate many U.S. passenger rail routes, Amtrak receives a combination of state and federal subsidies but is managed as a for-profit organization. The United States federal government, through the Secretary of Transportation, owns all the company's issued and outstanding preferred stock. Amtrak's headquarters is located 1 block west of Union Station in Washington, D.C. Amtrak serves more than 500 destinations in 46 states and 3 Canadian provinces, operating more than 300 trains, nearly over 21,400 miles, 34,000 kilometers of track. Amtrak owns approximately 623 miles, 1,003 kilometers of this track, and operates an additional 132 miles of track. Some track sections allow trains to run as fast as 150 miles per hour, 240 km/h. In fiscal year 2021, Amtrak served 12.2 million passengers and had $2.08 billion in revenue, with more than 17,500 employees as of fiscal year 2020. Nearly 87,000 passengers ride more than 300 Amtrak trains nearly. Nearly 2/3 of passengers come from the 10 largest metropolitan areas. 83% of passengers travel in routes shorter than 400 miles, 645 kilometers.
Arthur is an animated educational television series for children ages 4 to 8, developed by Kathy Waugh for PBS, and produced by WGBH. The show is set in the fictional U.S. city of Elwood City, and revolves around the lives of Arthur Reed, an anthropomorphic aardvark, his friends and family, and their daily interactions with each other. The television series is based on the Arthur book series written and illustrated by Mark Brown. WGBH Boston, along with Montreal-based Cinner, now Wildbrain, began production of the animated series in 1994, and aired its first episode on October 7, 1996. During its 25-season run, the show has broadcast 253 half-hour episodes. A pilot for the spin-off series Postcards from Buster aired in December 2003 as a season 8 episode of Arthur. Postcards from Buster aired from October 11, 2004 to November 21, 2008. The series faced several years of hiatus until a brief revival in February 2012, only to be cancelled after airing 3 unseen episodes that had been held over from the show's 3rd season. In June 2018, it was announced that Arthur was renewed for 4 additional seasons, through its 25th season. It was subsequently announced on July 27, 2021, that the 25th season would be the final season. Arthur concluded its original run on PBS Kids on February 21, 2022. Despite concluding after 25 years, the show will continue to have new content on PBS Kids and on the video app. The series often deals with important issues families face such as asthma, dyslexia, cancer, diabetes, and autism spectrum disorder. It also encourages reading and relationships with family and friends by explaining that people have different personalities and interests. It was the longest-running children's animated series in the U.S., and the second longest-running animated series in the U.S., behind Fox's The Simpsons.
In the spring, Elliot the deer has grown giant new antlers and is about to marry Giselle. However, Elliot's new antlers are cracked off in an accident, which upsets him. Luckily, his best friend, Luke the bear, and the others manage to cheer Elliot up by having a rabbit fight. After hearing words being spoken by Ian during the wedding ceremony, Elliot begins to have second thoughts. Meanwhile, Mr. Weenie finds a dog biscuit trail that his previous owners left behind and follows it. At the climax of the wedding, Elliot witnesses Mr. Weenie being taken away by his old owners, Bob and Bobby. Elliot tells an exaggerated story to the other forest animals, made possible by his misinterpretation of Bobby's excessive affections toward Mr. Weenie, and decides to make a rescue mission to save him. The other animals that go on Elliot's rescue mission are Oog, Giselle, Squirrel Mook Squeezy, Buddy the Porcupine, and Duck Sergeant Amy. Meanwhile, the pets of Bob and Bobby's friends on their way to Pet Paradiso, a resort for humans and their pets meet at a rest stop. There is Fifi, a toy poodle and his basset hound companion Roberto, 2 cats named Stanley and Roger, and 2 southern dogs named Rufus and Charlene. Fifi discusses his hatred for wild animals, describing how he claims they got him shot by a bug zapper. He then tries to maul a nearby rabbit until he's stopped by his owner. Meanwhile, the wilds find Weenie, much to Elliot's dismay, who does not want to marry Giselle. They try to free him while his owner stops at a gas station. They free him from his chains, but accidentally leave him stuck in the RV along with Buddy. Elliot and Giselle have an argument, and eventually leave Elliot to search for Mr. Weenie himself, while Sergeant Amy fly to look for him. The owners reach the pet camp with Mr. Weenie and Buddy. The other pets meet with Weenie, and Fifi tries to revert Weenie back into his pet state, but Weenie resists. Buddy helps Weenie escape and Buddy tries to free Weenie from his shock collar. During the chase, Fifi gets shot by the collar and gets the fur on his forehead burned, causing him to lose most of his sanity and vow revenge. Meanwhile, Sergeant Amy returns and explains they found Weenie and Buddy at a pet camp, unaware that the 2 have already escaped. Luke and the others set up camp, and Luke fails to convince Giselle that Elliot is a good person and that they belong together. The wilds realize that they have gone to Pet Paradiso. Weenie and Buddy find Elliot in the woods and convince him to go to Pet Paradiso to save his friends. The wilds then try to sneak into Pet Paradiso by disguising themselves as pets, with Giselle as a Dalmatian and Mook Squeezy as a Chihuahua. Luke attempts to sneak in as a cat, but proves to be too large to pass off as one. He then changes his disguise to a sheepdog. After Elliot, Mr. Weenie, and Buddy meet up with Oog, Elliot also disguises himself as Oog's human owner and they sneak inches. Giselle and Mook Squeezy walk around Pet Paradiso looking for Mr. Weenie, but their cover is blown and are captured by Fifi and the other pets and taken to their secret lair beneath the resort's water slide. Elliot, Buddy and Mr. Weenie attempt to go inside to save Giselle and Mook Squeezy, but Mr. Weenie, missing being a pet again, goes to play on the water slide, leaving the rest except Oog to be captured by Fifi, while Oog tries to catch Mr. Weenie. Fifi tries to kill them all with a pile of shock collars. As Oog tries to stop Mr. Weenie from going down the water slide, his cover is blown and security attempts to tranquilize him. Before Fifi shocks the wilds into submission, Elliot tries to profess his love for Giselle, only to be berated by her for leaving her at the altar. As Fifi is about to kill them, Oog enters the lair via the water slide and the liquid flushes everyone out. A battle between the wilds and pets ensues, with a Pet Paradiso security focused on tranquilizing the wilds. While Oog tricks security into tranquilizing themselves, Elliot saves Giselle, accidentally placing all the shock collars on himself. He wrestles Fifi in the pool for the shock collar remote. Fifi eventually grabs the remote and activates the collars, only to realize that Elliot has attached the collars to him. Fifi survives the electrocution but loses all its fur, humiliating him further. The pets and the wild settle their differences and decide to become friends. Mr. Weenie, wanting to be a pet again, decides to join the pets and returns to his owners in rejoice. Returning to the woods, Elliot finally professes his true feelings for Giselle and they get married.
The series follows the adventures of Bob, a building contractor, specializing in masonry, along with his colleague Wendy, various neighbors and friends and equipment, and their gang of anthropomorphized work vehicles, Scoot, Buck, Dizzy, Rolly, Lofty and many others.
Advanced Research Complex. Construction of the Advanced Research Complex was completed in MTC 2136. This vast state-of-the-art research, design, and production center uses cutting-edge technology and fabrication techniques to prototype everything from robotic to weaponry to subspace communication systems. The building security, life support, and day-to-day are almost entirely managed by Vega, the Argent Civility's in-house artificial intelligence mainframe. Due to the highly sensitive nature of the research conducted in the Ark, the entire superstructure is essentially a Faraday cage to prevent any unauthorized communications beyond its walls. The Ark is the birthplace of several breakthrough study fields, including BFG development, teleportation research, and cybernetic augmentation. This bastion of advanced thought attracts the brightest minds in the scientific community, and is considered humanity's brain trust.
Dora the Explorer is an American children's animated television series and multimedia franchise created by Chris Gifford, Valerie Walsh-Valdez and Eric Weiner that premiered on Nickelodeon on August 14, 2000, and ended on August 9, 2019. The series was produced by Nickelodeon Animation Studio. The show focuses on the adventures of a Latin American girl named Dora and her monkey friend Boots, with a particular emphasis on the Spanish language. The show is presented in the style of an interactive CD-ROM game, with gimmicks such as title cards appearing in windows and Dora asking the viewer to help her by showing the current items in her inventory and asking the viewer which one is best for the current scenario.
The fitness gram pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slowly, but gets faster each minute after you hear this signal. Beep. A single lap should be completed each time you hear the sound. Ding. Remember to run in a straight line, and run as long as possible. The second time you fail to complete a lap before the sound, your test is over. The test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready, start.